Hey, what's up? This is Chosen. Was just getting ready to fire up the stream and go live and get the day started with all this craziness going on with the Cold Heart guaranteed event and all the stuff going on in game. But we've got a bombshell tweet coming out from Plarium, and then we are getting some word of some of the balance changes that are going to be coming. So we'll go over that document together. I will get you some live context and first reactions to the rebalances that are going to be coming to the game. So let's get into it. So first up, we've got some changes to Tila Gormain. Oh, I said when I was watching the video, I was like, is that Kreela? No, it's Tila. They are reskins of each other. So here is Kreela, and then here is Tila. So yeah, okay. I got it now. Okay, so we've got Tila getting the increase from 93 to 98, but in game right now it says 92. So maybe that was a typo or something. But anyway, going up to 98 base speed when ascended. So that's gonna be very good. Then we've got the Hex Drinker Scimitar. That is the A1. So we're gonna be going from just stealing the one random buff to keeping that effect, but also adding a 50% chance of stealing another random buff if they're under 2 or more. Pretty solid on an A1. And then the Pyre Strike is getting a cooldown, which is usually a big deal. This is going to be attack one enemy with HP burn. Looks like the only change is the cooldown on this one, plus the plus down below they've got the continuous heal on all allies for 2 turns. They're just removing the critical effect. So not going to have to build Tila with crit. And then also she's getting a cooldown on the heals for the team and the HP burn placing. Okay, that's good. That looks like the changes to Tila. Nice. Tila definitely needed some love, needed a buff for sure. I don't know that that's quite enough to make her like a sought-after champion, but at least she is getting buffed because she did need it. Then we've got Robar here, also getting a base speed increase. Looks like it currently in the game, the base speed is 87. We're going to be bumping that up to 97, so a 10 base speed increase here for Robar. 87 is a little bit crazy, so that was definitely a welcome change. And then it looks like his hard-hitting Merciless Assault. So this used to do a bunch more damage and could actually do pretty insane output if you actually get some of these qualifiers. Like you've got some stuns and some freezes. He can hit insanely hard. Looks like they're going to be adding some of those new debuffs that have come to the game, like Fear and True Fear, while also adding Provoke to that list as well. So, okay, Robar getting a little bit of love. Then it looks like a pretty simple change here to King Garog. We're just getting a damage multiplier increase on the A3, it looks like. So, yeah, this is the one that does the AoE with basically just a natural savage set. We're going to be ignoring a bunch of the target's defense, and then we're going to be ignoring more for each buff they have on them. Can actually get up to a point where it hits pretty hard. Unfortunately, it doesn't say multiplier increased by how much. I would love to know 10%, 15%, 20%. But you know, unfortunately, we're gonna have to wait and kind of test that to see how hard this guy hits and recalculate what his multiplier is. But okay, King Garog definitely needed a little bit of love as well. Then we get to Pixneal. This one is sorely needed for sure. So let's see what we got going on here. Mistress of Glamours is going to be the A1. So basically what they're going to be changing here, it looks like, is no longer is the Veil going to be going on a random ally, but instead we're going to be buffing that up to a perfect Veil instead of just a Veil, and it's going to go on the ally with the lowest HP. So it could come in clutch here on the A1 to put a perfect Veil on someone who has low HP. So definitely a good change there on the A1. Frostweaver is the passive. So looks like we're getting a bunch of changes to this one. Whenever an enemy, so we're going to have a 50% chance of stealing the freeze buff onto this champion. That goes up from 20 to 50. So a lot more reliable there. And then instead of a 25% chance of filling her turn meter, it's going to be bumped up to a 35% chance. And then we're just going to straight up remove any freeze debuffs from this champion at the start of a turn, whereas it used to be a 35%. So Pixneal is staying exactly the same in her design, but she's going to be much more reliable in that role. These are good changes. They're not going too crazy, it looks like. They're going to keep her function in the game kind of the same. So now we're going to have to test that she's more reliable to see where we can kind of slot this in, be like really good versus Tormund teams as like a Tormund counter and stuff like that. So we'll have to test how good Pixneal is going to be now, but she definitely did need to become a lot more reliable. Then Tomb Lord also getting a little bit of adjustment, and you know, forgive me for the break here in the document. This is in between two different pages, so I did my best to crop it in there for you, but I know it looks a little bit weird. So we've got Tomb Lord. Death Burst is going to be the A2 here. So what we're going to be doing is placing the poisons for 2 turns instead of 1 on both the non-crit and the crit version. 4 poisons on all enemies for 2 turns is insane. Now, Tomb Lord was already decent in like the Night Rev faction wars and stuff like that, so he is really going to be cranking out the deeps there. And then also the Blight on the A3 is going to be lowering the base cooldown from 6 to 5, so we're going to be able to book this to 4 instead of 5. Lowering cooldowns is always a big buff to how a champion is going to perform, so that is good. And then the aura is going to be changing. His aura used to be pretty unused. Defense in arena battles is definitely decent, but he doesn't really get used in the arena much. So ally accuracy in the Doom Tower by 70 is going to be a much better aura for Tomb Lord. So okay, yeah, these are pretty good changes on Tomb Lord. War Chief is going to be getting just 1 change on Marauder, which is his A2. War Chief's pretty simple. He's got the A1, the A2, and a passive. But we've got Marauder having the base cooldown lowered from 4 to 3. So we're going to be able to book this to a 2-turn cooldown. This guy was already S God tier against the Magma Dragon. Now he's going to be ridiculous against the Dragon. Because this is a 2-turn provoke for 3 turns. So yeah, he is just double S God tier against the Magma Dragon. Even unbooked, he's going to be insane against the Magma Dragon. But that is super reliable single target provoke. You can basically just choose somebody and lock them out permanently, because if you book this to a 2-turn cooldown and you place provoke for 3 turns, lots of single target here CC for War Chief. Moving on to Basilius Roanos. We've got the triple puncture is going to be the A2 here. Will ignore increased defense. So what they're doing here is it used to just ignore shield and block damage and some defense. Now it's going to also ignore the increased defense buff. So yeah, this is going to hit insanely hard when you couple that with the fact that the damage multiplier is increasing as well. And then Majesty is the A3. We've got another multiplier increase, and look at this. So this is a 4-turn AoE. And we went from a base of 50% chance of placing a stun that we could book up to 75 to a 75% chance to place a stun that we can book up to 100. So AoE guaranteed stun here from Basilius Roanos with lots of damage increases and ignoring even more defense than he was before when you include the buff in there. So pretty good changes here to Basilius. Crypt King Grawl is also on the list, and he definitely needed to be. He was always kind of decent on paper, but his kit just never materialized into being a really good and sought-after champion. But we've got the A1 is going to be buffed up from a 60 to 100% chance as long as the target is under an HP burn or a freeze. So that is definitely needed. He needed to be a little bit more reliable there on the A1. Definitely a part of his value. And then we've got Death Fires is going to be the A2 here. Okay, so we're getting an AoE instead of 3 times at random. Spider comes to mind. Then we're going to be a 75% chance, and it looks like with the buff chance he's currently got on his books, we can get that up to an AoE 100% chance for HP burn on a 3-turn cooldown when booked, with the damage multiplier being increased. So, okay, definitely good changes to Crypt King Grawl that will help him fill his role a lot better and make him a lot more reliable. So I can get on board with these changes to him for sure. Here we go. War Mother is also on the list. War Mother was the first legendary that I summoned in my Raid Shadow Legends career. So, okay, what do we got going on here? Base attack, defense, and bomb damage multiplier increased, but her base HP decreased. Her base HP isn't crazy at 18.4, so I don't know why they had to decrease that. It's kind of an unnecessary change, but okay, I hope it's not decreased too much. But she's going to be doing a lot more damage with the higher base attack, because that is what scales bomb damage. Bombs don't scale with crit and crit damage, so it's good that she got the base attack buff. She'll have a pretty insane base attack. She was already almost at 1400, so I wonder what that's going to be, maybe like 1500 or something. And then we're getting a change here on the special brew. Basically, it looks like it's just going to be detonating in 2 turns instead of 3, which is definitely good. And then Mother's Touch is going to be an AoE that used to have to be crit to detonate all the bombs, but now instead of needing to crit, she's just going to need an increased attack buff, which definitely functions a little bit better with her kit because bomb champions, you typically don't need crit. Like I said, it doesn't really scale with that. So you're not going to have to build War Mother with crit anymore in order to get all of that damage from her insane bombs. So we already saw some niche strategies with War Mother. I know I saw Manable back in the day do a pretty cool video in the arena with a maxed out War Mother that was booked and clapping some teams up there and doing some fun things. So yeah, that definitely helps her functionality as a champion, and it kind of makes sense with her design a little bit more. Grohawk the Bloodied. Sorry, we've got another page break here. I've cropped it in as best I could for you, but we've got Unbound Anger, which is the A2. We're getting a cooldown reduction from 4 to 3, and we don't need to book that cooldown. Then it looks like we're also replacing the decreased speed qualifier in order to fill his turn meter with just needing to crit. I like that change. That definitely makes a lot more sense. And then Lord of War is the A3. Looks like instead of just stealing the turn meter, we're adding the effect of also placing the big version of the weaken debuff for 2 turns as long as he crits. And you're going to want to build for that anyway here because of the change to the A2 here, where you just need to crit to get the turn meter fill. So, okay, yeah, similar to War Mother, definitely helps his functionality as a champion. It makes a lot more sense with his kit design. No, don't you do it. Leave my Uragrim alone. What are we doing here? I loved having Uragrim as an awesome epic addition to the game, but what do we got going on here? Looks like the A1 is gonna be, oh no, it's a double hitter now instead of a triple hitter. Looks like that's the only change. Like, that's not a huge nerf. It definitely stinks, but okay. We're taking the A1, taking it from 3 to 2 hits, but everything else stays the same. And then, oh no, cooldown increases are always rough. But we got the A3, the base cooldown being increased from 5 to 6. So instead of booking this to 3, you're going to book it to 4. Okay, yeah, it looks like, and we're also going to be placing a single continuous heal buff instead of 2. So I guess what they're doing here is trying to make sure Uragrim is not better than Bad Alcazar, who they regard as one of the desirable champions in the game. They don't want to have an epic just completely outshine him. Unfortunate, like, don't think was really necessary. I don't know. I'm curious what you think about that. It's always touchy when champions get nerfed. I typically don't like to go that route because after people spend books and invest in champions and build teams around certain things, whenever you nerf it, you have to be really careful about doing that or you're really going to throw people off. So let me know what you think about that. Is this fair to do? Was this a fair adjustment? Or are you super upset that they kind of made these changes to Uragrim? Because he's still going to be a good epic. He's just not going to be the insane epic that he was. So alrighty, to wrap this up here, what stood out to me, pretty good changes on Tila, maybe not quite enough to make her really good. For Robar, welcome change, we'll have to test and see how hard he's hitting now. King Garog, very simple changes, not really much going on there, he's just going to hit harder. Pixneal, she's going to be a lot more reliable in her role. We're going to have to test and see how good she can be in some of those freeze situations. Tomb Lord is going to be insane. Tomb Lord, like I said, was already pretty decent. He is going to be cranking out tons of poisons and doing lots of damage in certain situations. So pretty excited about the Tomb Lord changes. War Chief, he needed a little bit of love and he got it. Cooldown reduction, he's going to be insanely good at that role of kind of single target lockout. Basilius also got really good changes. He's going to crank out damage now for sure. Crypt King, his role in the game is going to be much more cemented, and I'm excited to have another AoE HP burner because we definitely need more of those with the changes to the new spider dungeons and kind of the meta shifting in the spider, and HP burn is kind of aging well. It's more and more valuable the longer raid is out, so I like those changes. War Mother is going to do insane damage with bombs. They keep trying to make bombs a thing in the game, so War Mother, it's going to be fun to play around with that and see how crazy she is now. Grohawk, his kit makes a lot more sense now. It like pairs a lot better with his design as a champion to build with crit to go along with that. And obviously the big change on this, the bombshell, is at the end here with Uragrim. Unfortunate to see the nerf, and I'm curious to see what you're going to say about that in the comments, and I'll let you guys know in the next video kind of what the community sentiment seems to be on this. So I would definitely appreciate you taking the time to share your perspective down below. But all right, pretty insane changes. We also have the new fusion coming soon, and I need to get on over to stream. I am running behind today, so I'm going to be live for the next few hours. And don't forget to subscribe on your way out, because I have got lots of giveaways coming up soon, and I'm working on lots of cool graphics like this to get you all the resources you need to keep up to date on Raid Shadow Legends. So that's going to do it for me on this one. As always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.